Before the relentless noise of the external world and chaotic expectations dictate your day, intentionally stop. In this sacred time, draw a deep, anchoring breath into the center of your physical being. Inhale slowly, pulling restorative air into the quietest chambers of your stomach. Hold it for one heartbeat, allowing pure oxygen to gather your anxious energy. Exhale, dropping the massive boulder of unspoken frustrations from your exhausted shoulders. Unclench your jaw, releasing the dense memory of swallowed boundaries kept for fragile peace. You are completely, fundamentally safe here, fiercely recognized for your radiant essence and your ancient, untamed soul. We are currently navigating a staggering, intensely complex, and deeply revealing energetic intersection. The date is April 20. This is absolutely not a day for casual observation, and it is certainly not a day for continuing the frantic, exhausting sprint of your old romantic patterns. Nor is it a day for remaining silently compliant. This is a day of absolute, breathtaking, and terrifyingly beautiful sovereignty. On this highly specific, mathematically precise point in the cosmos, we are experiencing a massive, visceral collision of two entirely different, yet profoundly complementary energetic forces. Today, the Sun, the glorious center of our universe, the planet of our core identity and vitality, officially leaves the fiery, rushed kingdom of Aries and makes its magnificent, heavy, deliberate entrance into the grounded, luxurious, and completely unshakable earth of Taurus. And as the Sun initiates this beautiful season, it immediately merges in a brilliant, beautiful conjunction with Venus, the ancient goddess of love, beauty, wealth, and absolute self-worth, completely magnifying your inherent value, but simultaneously occurring at the exact same moment. Mercury, the planet of your voice and communication, slams headfirst into Mars, the blazing planet of war and action, in the fierce, uncompromising fire of Aries. These are not just distant planets moving silently in the dark, cold void of space. These are literal energetic codes, massive, physical software updates for your human experience, being downloaded directly into your nervous system, your throat chakra, and your heart space. They are completely, irrevocably rewriting your internal blueprint for love, breaking down the ancient illusions you have carried about your worth, and forcing you into a state of absolute, undeniable romantic luxury, protected by a fiercely armed, highly vocal guard. Let us deeply, courageously examine what is actually happening within your spirit as the brilliant Sun and Venus drop their anchor into the fertile, immovable soil of your self-worth, while Mercury and Mars hand you the blazing sword of absolute truth. For a very, very long time, you have been operating in a state of absolute, chronic, romantic negotiation because of your deep, beautifully tender heart, your profound capacity for empathy, and the unhealed wounds of scarcity you have carried for lifetimes. You have lived in an agonizing state of trying to prove your value. You have taken your beautiful, luxurious, entirely worthy soul, and you have constantly put it on the discount rack, hoping that if you just lowered your price, someone would finally choose you. You have gone to absolute war against your own self-respect, convincing yourself that if you asked for the deep, sensual, physical consistency you actually desired, you would be seen as too demanding or too high maintenance. You have desperately, constantly allowed people to treat you as an option while you treated them as a luxury. You took your primal, vital, emotional life force, your beautiful capacity for raw, sensual devotion, and you locked it in a heavy, dark cycle of over-explaining your boundaries to people who were completely committed to misunderstanding you. You tolerated partners who gave you intense, blazing promises of the future, but who offered absolutely zero tangible, physical, consistent effort in the present moment. You fell deeply, tragically into the devastating habit of accepting energetic breadcrumbs, convincing yourself that if you were just sweet enough, patient enough, and silent enough, they would magically recognize your worth and hand you the crown. You became fiercely addicted to the noble, exhausting, completely self-destructive crusade of performing the understanding partner. You convinced yourself that if you just kept your voice soft, if you never caused a scene, if you completely suppressed the fiery, entirely valid anger that was burning in your chest, you could finally secure the unconditional, stable love you so desperately craved. You confused the absolute exhaustion of this endless, unwinnable performance with the feeling of profound romantic sacrifice. You thought that because you were constantly swallowing your truth to keep the peace, it must mean you were highly evolved. You mistook the suffocating, terrifying absence of physical grounding and vocal expression for a peaceful relationship. You have been operating in a thick, heavy fog of self-betrayal, completely disconnected from the sacred vessel of your own physical body, walking carefully on a floor of sharp, unpredictable eggshells, entirely convinced that your ultimate lack of tangible standards would eventually be rewarded. You waited for the grand, cinematic moment where they would finally, magically see your value, validate your existence, and give you the luxurious, consistent, deeply anchored respect you never dared to demand out loud. But as the profound, transformative energy of this April 20 alignment peaks, as the Sun and Venus unite in the magnificent, heavy kingdom of Taurus, and Mercury strikes the match of Mars in Aries, the chaotic, exhausting fog of your romantic compliance is suddenly, violently, and beautifully burning away. This alignment is sparking a massive, irreversible spiritual awakening directly within your heart and your throat. It is the sudden, striking, highly physical realization of the sovereign creator who finally realizes they are the ultimate prize, and who absolutely refuses to ever negotiate their worth again. You are experiencing a literal, physical shockwave of somatic clarity. The heavy, intoxicating, deeply addictive illusion of the compliant, low-maintenance lover is shattering into a million unrecoverable pieces. You are suddenly seeing the past, the toxic dynamics, the endless swallowing of your voice, and the agonizing lack of true, structured, physical partnership with a stark, almost blinding realism. You are looking at the people who gave you anxiety instead of assurance, the unbalanced connections that completely drained your physical vitality, and for the first time in your life, you do not feel the desperate, clawing urge to chase them or politely explain why they hurt you. You do not feel the heavy, suffocating responsibility to build a fantasy in your mind because the reality in front of you is so painfully barren. You are feeling the brilliant, sharp, deeply protective luxury of the Taurus Sun and Venus waking up inside your actual bones, entirely supported by the absolute, boundary-setting, unapologetic fire of Mercury and Mars. You are finally, deeply, and profoundly understanding that your vital, brilliant love was never meant to be a chaotic negotiation. It was meant to be an absolute, unshakable given. This is the absolute, permanent death of the people-pleaser within your romantic blueprint. You are finally dropping the heavy, rusted mask of the silent sufferer. You are taking your immense, beautiful, terrifying power back from the people who gladly, willingly kept you in a state of constant, panicked uncertainty. You are finally realizing that true, sovereign love requires two seemingly opposite but deeply necessary actions. It requires the breathtaking ability to ground yourself entirely in your absolute worth, and it requires the terrifying bravery to fiercely, vocally cut down anything that threatens that worth. And the universe is not just breaking your toxic, compliant patterns. It is immediately, beautifully rushing in to fortify your spirit with a tidal wave of unimaginable, fiercely protective, undeniable truth. Because exactly as you drop the addiction to proving yourself, the skies open up and deliver the pure, undeniable, luxurious warmth of the Taurus Sun and Venus, teaching you the profound magic of simply existing in your high value, while Mercury and Mars hand you the microphone to broadcast your new rules. Listen to the sound of my voice and let these words sink into the deepest, most permanent layers of your subconscious mind. Taurus is doing the fierce, intensely necessary work of anchoring your self-worth entirely within your own physical being. It is placing a heavy, golden crown on your head and refusing to let you look down. Meanwhile, the Mercury-Mars conjunction in Aries is standing guard at the door of your life, completely refusing to let you use soft, passive-aggressive, or timid language anymore. For so long, you have operated in a state of energetic starvation and muted expression. You have survived on words without actions, and you have spoken your needs as if they were apologies. The transformative frequency of April 20 is stepping powerfully into your energetic field, placing its warm, heavy, incredibly steady hands firmly on your shoulders, looking you dead in the eye and whispering a profound, ultimate truth directly into your soul. Your worth is absolute, inherent, and completely non-negotiable, and your voice is the weapon that protects it. True, authentic, profoundly aligned love is not supposed to be a diet of breadcrumbs, nor is it supposed to require you to silence your roar. It is supposed to be an absolute, luxurious, overflowing banquet of consistent presence, defended by radical honesty. You are currently undergoing a radical, highly accelerated, somatic, and communicative upgrade. You are being entirely recalibrated to handle the intense, brilliant frequency of true, unfiltered, unapologetic self-worth. You find yourself suddenly, inexplicably repulsed by the fast-talking, inconsistent, deeply unreliable dynamics that you used to tolerate. The idea of rushing into a physical connection, or the idea of having to perform exhausting emotional gymnastics just to get a basic point across, suddenly feels profoundly insulting, completely draining, and entirely unnatural to your newly awakened, highly sovereign, deeply anchored spirit. You are looking at the confusing, chaotic communication you used to accept, and you are feeling an unshakable, elevated intolerance for anything less than a partner who possesses the profound, earthy discipline to match their words with absolute, undeniable, physical action. This is not you becoming stubborn or mean. This is you becoming sovereign. This is you becoming a master of your own tangible reality. You are realizing that you do not want a partner who only brings the wild, destructive fire of potential. You want a partner who brings the heavy, fertile, completely reliable earth of actualized commitment, and who is brave enough to handle the direct, unfiltered fire of your authentic voice. You want a connection that feels like resting in a massive, brilliantly lit, beautifully furnished, entirely indestructible home, where the communication is stark, clear, and totally devoid of manipulation. You are demanding, with the quiet, terrifying, unshakable confidence of a fully awakened soul. A love that is expansive, courageous, fiercely honest, completely reliable, physically present, incredibly sensual, and entirely free of hidden agendas. And because you are finally demanding it, because you are no longer accepting the scraps of uncertainty, the universe is expanding your magnetism to an entirely unprecedented, mind-blowing level. You are quite literally becoming a walking, breathing, blazing magnet for high-vibrational, fully realized, securely attached, deeply structured, and luxurious love. You are calling in a partner who does not flinch when you speak your mind with the fierce clarity of Aries. You are calling in an absolute equal, a sovereign builder for a sovereign builder, someone who has fought their own brutal internal battles, conquered their own deep fear of intimacy, and is now standing completely whole, capable of giving you the vast, expansive safety to breathe, relax your nervous system, and fully inhabit your body, while honoring the brilliant, sharp boundaries of your mind. Someone who looks at your fierce, profound depth and your sharp, brilliant truth and does not try to silence you, but instead carefully, respectfully takes their time to worship every single layer of your being. This energy is not just about romance. It is about the absolute convergence of all forms of your personal, sovereign power. As you clear the dense, heavy, suffocating addiction to compliance from your system, you are simultaneously unblocking massive, rushing rivers of absolute financial authority, unstoppable career momentum, and raw, grounded wealth that were waiting for you to simply, finally, speak up and demand your worth. You will notice over the next few days that opportunities, people, and serendipitous moments of sheer, undeniably perfect, structural alignment will start arriving at your doorstep with shocking, steady grace. A sudden urge to completely and directly reject a toxic situation without a single drop of guilt or over-explanation. An unexpected breakthrough in how you fiercely protect your physical energy. A brilliant wave of raw, deeply grounded power that absolutely demands to be treated with the utmost luxury. You will feel a radiant, blazing, yet deeply controlled and soothing heat expanding in your chest. A deep, cellular, undeniable knowing that the universe is no longer teaching you through the agonizing pain of starvation and silence. It is now teaching you through the incredible, ecstatic peace of absolute, overflowing abundance and radical truth. You ask yourself, why did I ever accept the chaotic negotiation when I was born to sit on a throne of undeniable, luxurious security? Why did I ever apologize for having massive, high standards and a sharp, brilliant voice when I had an entire ocean of divine, unshakable worth within my own physical vessel? Do not dare to judge the past versions of yourself for the compliance they endured. They did the absolute best they could with the unhealed wounds of unworthiness they carried. They were desperately, blindly trying to find love in a world that had incorrectly taught them that silence and self-sacrifice were the price of admission for deep connection. I want you to deeply, profoundly, and entirely forgive yourself right now. I want you to let the sound of my voice be the final, absolute, undeniable permission you need to completely release the heavy, exhausting burden of your compliant, romantic history. Let your physical voice vibrate in the actual air around you. Do not just think this, actually speak it out loud or scream it silently into the very center of your mind with the force of a cosmic supernova. I completely and unconditionally forgive myself for accepting breadcrumbs. I forgive myself for silencing my fiery truth to accommodate people who refuse to match my depth. I forgive myself for pouring my sacred, vital, life-giving energy into connections that offered absolutely no physical grounding or emotional honesty. I forgive myself for believing I had to endure agonizing anxiety and bite my tongue to be worthy of deep, romantic connection. I completely release the heavy, rusted chains of my past scarcity mindset. I completely sever all energetic cords to the people who needed me to stay quiet so they could avoid providing real consistency. I call all of my vital, brilliant, beautiful, sensual, vocal, and fiercely grounded energy back to my own throat and my own physical body. I am finally, deeply, and irrevocably open to the absolute abundance of safe, clear, extremely consistent, luxurious, and unconditionally sovereign love. Breathe that massive, world-altering declaration deeply into your cells. Feel the actual, physical, undeniable shift in the room around you. Feel the air become highly charged with absolute, unshakable solidity. Feel the chronic density, the anxiety, and the desperate need to please permanently leaving your energetic field. You have absolutely not lost a single ounce of your incredible potential by letting go of your past patterns. By walking away from the false, terrifying thrill of chaos, by stepping directly, bravely, into the mature, brilliant, completely grounded earth of Taurus season, protected by the fierce, vocal fire of Mercury and Mars, you have just freed up a massive, staggering amount of life force energy that is now rushing entirely into the physical, tangible manifestation of your absolute highest timeline. What you are experiencing as this April 20 transit peaks is a profound, incredibly necessary, and wildly explosive personal and romantic grounding. You are crossing the burning bridge from the timeline of the anxious, silent chaser directly into the timeline of the unapologetic, sovereign, highly vocal receiver. You will absolutely be tested in the coming weeks. The quiet ghosts of your old, compliant habits will likely try to drift back in. An ex or a toxic dynamic might reach out with a confusing, rushing message, hoping you will pick up the old, heavy mask and perform the dance of silent anxiety for them one last time. They will want to see if the ungrounded, desperate version of you is still available for consumption. When they do this, you are going to experience the ultimate, exhilarating, breathtaking victory of your brand new energetic frequency. You will look at the expectation for you to react, the invitation to shrink your voice, and you will feel absolutely nothing but a calm, elevated, completely untouchable, deeply rooted wall of solid earth. You will see the toxic dynamic for exactly what it is, and for the first time in your entire life, you will not sugarcoat your response. You will look at the rushing chaos, and you will simply, elegantly, firmly, and loudly speak your absolute truth. Because your peace is an entire, complete, impenetrable fortress, and you are no longer leaving your physical sanctuary for anyone who refuses to bring absolute, undeniable consistency and profound respect to your door. Like this message, do not do it out of an unconscious habit, but let the physical action of tapping the screen be a deliberate, grounded signature on your brand new contract with the cosmos. It is you bravely declaring that you are finally ready to step out of the chaos of others, reclaim your voice, and receive the abundance of absolute, unapologetic stability. Share your journey and deep realizations in the comments below. Declare your new standard of consistency. Use your actual words. Tell the universe exactly what chaotic drama you are no longer available for, and exactly what sovereign, structured, unshakable love you are calling in. Let the physical manifestation of your typed words act as an unbreakable energetic anchor for your brilliant timeline of truth. There is an undeniably magnetic power in actively witnessing each other's profound spiritual awakening into stability. We are finally realizing that the seemingly solitary, intensely painful path of finding our structured self is not a lonely journey, but rather a massive roar of elevating conscious souls refusing to accept scraps anymore. Your specific story and terrifyingly beautiful vulnerability might be the precise vibrational key that someone else desperately needs today to stop abandoning their own peace. Your massive courage might help them drop their addiction to drama and step entirely into their own stable truth. Subscribe to this exact frequency of absolute liberation. Keep your spirit strictly tethered to this highly elevated, unapologetic vibration as we navigate these massive cosmic waves together in the stable months to come. Now, take one more intentional, incredibly deep breath. Breathe in the crystal clear, utterly brilliant reality of this present moment. Let it physically fill your lungs to their absolute capacity. Fill your entire human vessel with the vibrant energy of your completely unapologetic new beginning. Exhale the desperately tired echoes of your past anxiety and silence. Blow those suffocating memories of chaotic lovers away into the infinite cosmic ether, sending them permanently back to the absolute nothingness from which they came. You are profoundly safe to be entirely at peace. You are fiercely sovereign and wonderfully whole as you are, entirely capable of demanding absolute consistency and speaking your mind. The exhausted era of chasing chaos and swallowing your voice is permanently over. The toxic illusion of unstable passion is dead. The abundantly reliable, fiercely protected, luxuriously vocal reality of your authentic, unshakable love story is finally here. Welcome home, beautiful soul, to the magnificent roar of your indestructible greatness.